Welcome back, everybody. I know it's hard to see a motorcycle in this form, especially if you have a third-gen Honda Magna 750. Still tearing down the 1995, making good parts for other people. Here is the heart of the 750 Magna V4. As you can see, it is a V-twin, but you have 4 cylinders. Carbs are sitting right in there. And then that's your intakes. There's our, well, we could probably lift these off at this point. Here are our valve covers. They are free with these bolts. I think that's a 5mm hex, but you just lift them up. There's 4 bolts, I think. And once you have your everything else disconnected, you can get it right in there. I just worked on taking off the water pump. You have 10mm and 8mm bolts there. So we also popped off the rotor, and I'll show you that in a minute. First, you take out the center bolt, and then you have to use an extractor or do your, you can pry it out, I'm sure, but it's majorly easier to use an extractor. I don't remember what size it was, but if you need me to look that up for you, we'll figure it out. Most people don't have to take off the rotor because it's on the inside, whereas you might need to replace your stator, which sits on the outside of it. So a lot of people don't need to take off their rotor. Here is our final drive. It is a chain. This is, like I said, 95. This is 94 through 2003. Same model, same bike. Magna, single-sided swing arm. We're getting down to the end here. I don't like to take apart everything. The frame would fall down. Doesn't have a center stand. That's why I'm laying it over. So anyway, I leaned it over to work on this side of the engine. It's a little tricky to get some of the parts off. But here is a straight set of handlebars. And you got the risers there. And then all these beauty covers go around the engine. So this sits on top, and it's basically just a beauty cover to cover your valve, your head cover. And then on the sides, you have these fins, which this is a liquid cooled engine, but they're making it look like an air cooled fins. But those are nice. They clean up good. Let's go out here and show you what else. I'm taking pictures for eBay. If anybody needs parts, let me know. These are your front foot pegs. I gotta take the rears off. Already took pictures. I'll sell them as a set. Here is our water pump. I know somebody asked in the forums if we had a water pump, and here is one. I can't tell you, this bike never ran for me. I never tried, but it is a parts bike, so there's a good water pump. It is free, as you can see. Here's the cover. As I said, here is your 8mm bolts. Here's your 10s, and that holds your cover on to this. 2 of them just go in here. I think that's the 8s, and then the 10s go through in order to secure this to your engine. And then there's some good hoses that runs up to the radiator. Over here's our rotor. As I said, you pull this guy out. I think that's a 14, if I'm remembering correctly. And then that comes out of here, and then you put your extractor in here, and that pushes it off of the drive shaft, or the crankshaft. And then, yeah, not the drive shaft, the crankshaft. And then here, I'm guessing this would be called your clutch cover. This is the left side engine cover. That came off. You have, again, I think 5mm bolts here. 3 of those. And then I had a little trouble pulling it out, but I lifted, this is your clutch. So that's where your clutch cable goes. And then I lifted this upwards. It just lifted straight up at that time. Oh, I think it's locked in by this. Hold on. There we go. It lifts up straight. I can probably push it right back down. Okay, it was just seized. But that sits in here. It's kind of an interesting thing. And then this, right here, it connects to this. And then when you turn this, it pushes and pulls this. Oh, you can see I can push it in and it turns this. And that pushes it out. So that's what's pushing in your clutch rod, which let's go show you that. That's for sale, that's for sale, everything's for sale off this bike, unless I decide to keep it. But I've got a couple different bikes of this, so I don't really need everything. And then that pushes your clutch rod, which I actually pushed through the engine already. It's open on the other side, so the clutch is not even there. That was off when I got the bike. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. Do you want to see in the... Here, I can lift this back up. I don't really feel like doing anything else on this right now. Let's see, can I lift it up with one easy swoop? There we go. It's gonna drip some more antifreeze. It was drained, but there's still some sitting in there. All right, so here is our back head valve cover. If I can slide that out, here. I don't know if I can get that out real easily or not. That one's not working. Can I get the front one out? I do have spark plug boots still in there. Well, that's coming right off with the spark plug boot. So let's just lift that off. You can see the front timing, valves, everything right in here, kind of like the last engine, the last two engines we've taken apart. But it's a little different. I think the design might be slightly different. We can go compare it to the one sitting in the back of the shop. But it has to be a little different. It does look somewhat changed. Still have 10mm bolts holding everything together. We'll have to compare these once I have everything off this engine and the other one. It'll be hard not to get them mixed up. Here is our front cover. Clean as usual. Gaskets, these rubber gaskets are usually pretty good and solid. So here's a front cover and bolts intact. I'll label this, wipe it down a little bit, put that up for sale, and I'll try to get this off. I'm not sure if I can do it without removing this engine from the frame as we usually do. There's your clutch rod from the other side. See, just push that through. That would push your clutch basket out to disengage. Pretty much, that's it. Yeah, we're getting down there. These just pop off with a screwdriver. See that little? Just pry them off. Be careful, sometimes they're rough. Here we have our paint code. Y124P. I think this was black, if I remember correctly. Rear shocks, they might clean up a little bit. Drum brake on the rear. Here I am holding this cover. Well, I'll just take it out to wipe it down and get some pictures of it. I think they already planned for this and they knew this was going to be a problem. So this valve cover has this thing on top. This cover up the center. Now I know it looks a little rough, but I think that's just dirt or corrosion. I don't know. So I don't know what this is. I'll look it up and find out and probably sell it with the valve cover. But this is on the back, just so you know. This is a metal gasket. I don't know what that is, but it's interesting. And this is actually the first time I took apart a third gen. This does go into the air box, if I remember correctly. This is what gets in the way here. I think I take that off to get the air box out. I take so many bikes apart. So yeah, it's some sort of probably emissions thing. So that comes off the top. You can move it forward. And then we can get this out because there's definitely room now to lift the back cover out of here. And that's probably so you can adjust your valves when it's in the engine. Oh, I wanted to tell you, there's two holes here, right there and right there. And I could get a skinny ratchet through there to loosen up the 8mm bolts on top. So that is probably the design they had to make do with adjusting your valves. We're not adjusting valves here, but if it was what you were doing, that's what you'd have to do. Remove that first, get through there, those holes to get those off. I am missing a bolt back here, but it was probably part of, I'm sure there was like a ground wire or even like a wire tie, something on there that I removed when I was removing something else. So I'm missing that bolt. I'm sure it's around somewhere, but who knows at this point. So anyway, that's how you get your rear off. Now we're down to this, and we could start taking camshafts out. And look at all this disgustingness. This bike was sitting for a while before I got it. So guys, this wasn't running. Look how loose this is. But anyway, this is where we're at now. This is just an air line that goes, I think, to an air breather. Yeah, that's what that is. So we'll keep going. Just here while I'm at it, this is a Sabre 750. I think it's an 82. 83. All right. We got 83 VF 750S. Yep. That's looking pretty good. I got that not running. Something crazy was wired up here. Oh, what is that? It's like an extension cord hanging off there. Okay. Boy, I got projects, guys. No lack of projects. This one, the mileage, 37,000. The guy I got it from, I mean, there's the gas tank. I forget. I think the gas tank's roached on this one anyway. But that's enough to get you rolling down the road. Looks good. It's all there. It's all somewhere anyway. I think it's time to remove this engine, and then we can work around the engine easier and better. Take off the oil pan without flipping this upside down. Good stuff like that. So, always, there's a screw I didn't pull out. Always make sure that when you're doing this, there's like this one here, and you might have a nut on the back. Yep, right here we have a nut. So this is probably 14. Oftentimes they're 14s and 12s millimeters. So I'm just gonna start unscrewing stuff, and we do not have a section to take out of the frame to get this engine out. So basically, I'm just gonna tip the bike over once it's done, lay it over, and we'll have an engine out of here, and I can roll this out of here, completely tear it down, and we'll have one less bike in the shop. Looks like we have one on the top, 14 and 12s. That's a bracket right there. And on the bottom, we have 12s and a 14. That is actually, does that go across the bottom? Usually they do. There's a nut on this side, bolt on the other. Then we got one up here. And be careful, there's a spacer in there. And eventually, when you take enough of these out, engine's gonna start dropping. And as you loosen things up, so there's one there and one here. So it's gonna start dropping. It's gonna put pressure on the ones you're taking out. And you gotta be careful. Don't squish your fingers. Don't drop the engine. I'm gonna lay this over. I might have to take some of this stuff out. Sometimes that gets in the way as you're going, but we'll see. This is the ground wire right here. And then this guy, that's probably gonna get in the way too. That's holding some wires in there. Yeah, that's gonna get caught up. There's our starter. Well, that goes down to the starter. Do we even have a starter anymore? No, I think the starter's already been taken off. Yeah, we can pull that out of here. Oh, we're connected there. I don't know. Does that need to be screwed out? Or just pulled off? Looks like it pulled off, but guess I'll have to look at that when I get down there. No, I think that screws out. Yeah, it does. All right, so I'm gonna lay it over. Here we got all the bolts out. This engine is free, but the only thing I need to do is get this chain off because that's just holding that in place. And it's spinning, so I can't get this loose. So let's just take out one of these. We're not gonna save this chain. It's rusty and gross. Don't even need this. So we could just take a grinder and knock out one of these links. There's the master link right there. Just knock any of these out really at this point, and the chain will fall off, and then we'll be free to go. Because I'm not organized, grinder was not easily found or located, so a bolt cutter came in handy here. So now I can pull this off and actually dump this engine out and roll it around. The bike, that is. We got it off. It's a good thing too, because that thing is seized and gross. So anyway, the bike is back up, and the engine, or the heart, is on the floor. I casually laid it down. It just fit right out of the frame as I lifted it. Now, this thing can get out of there. We'll get the front end off, get the rear off, get the rear pegs, salvage anything we want. There's a nice triple clamp up top. And we'll continue with this. I don't know, this front drive sprocket had like some sort of plastic on it or rubber, and that is just breaking apart. It does say 16T, which I think is stock. 16T, and that's it. So that's it for today. I'm gonna gather up, we'll sell all the frame engine mounts together. Make sure I have all the parts for that. This little engine, we're gonna take it somewhere. Like I said, it'd be nice to compare it to the Super Magna engine we're taking apart right now, is I think what we're doing now. So, we already took apart the V4 from the 82 Sabre. We're working on the Super Magna, and now we have a 3rd gen Magna engine. Like I said, fun to see what this actually compares to the other engines. Same basic design, some upgraded features, hopefully. And yeah, there's the oil pan. That'll be for sale once I get it off. This engine turns still, so I know we're good. This one wasn't seized up or anything. So I will see you guys on the next one. Get out and ride or tear down. Take the heart out of your 3rd gen Magna. If you need any parts, I will see you on the next one. Get a hold of me here or on Instagram. Normal guy getting by. Have a great day.